Okay, hello everyone, this is Mr. Burns here, and I'm going to record this video regarding your new project for Unit 2 Political Process. It's called You're a Campaign Manager. You'll be in a small group of 3, maybe 4, depending on the class. And as you can see here, the goal of this is to act as a campaign manager. You're going to run a campaign for a candidate. We're going to do a campaign draft. You're going to get to pick a candidate, a Republican or a Democrat, who is a contender for 2024. And what you're going to do is create a campaign calendar and then some other features, including a candidate profile, some media strategy, a thank you note to a political action committee, and a campaign reflection. But the big part of the project is the campaign calendar. You can see from this page, you're going to write your group members' names at the top. There'll be 3 or 4 of you in your group. These are all hyperlinks, so you can scroll down to those pages. And then you can put your candidate and your candidate's party down here at the bottom. And then most of your project will be done on this campaign calendar. So these are the dates for the campaign calendar. You're going to fill in the 3 or 4 weeks leading up to the campaign. And what you're going to do on each of these dates, it has a date for morning, afternoon, and evening. So there might be 3 events. You might have to include flights or travel in there as well. And what you're going to do is also pick a state and identify how many voters new voters you came in contact with, and how much money you raised if you did a campaign events. So by this deadline, you have to raise $100,000 for your campaign from the first day all the way to here. You got a couple weeks to do that. And then by the last day, right before election day, you have to meet with 100,000 new voters. And what you're going to do is you're going to come up with a couple of events, and you might be in the same city a couple of days in a row, and you might be able to add a travel time, whether it's in the morning or whether it's after the evening. You can have an evening event and then travel at night. That's okay. You can have an early morning flight and then have a morning event as well. So you don't have to travel every time. I did put some in here that you can't change. So one's highlighted in yellow and green, right? You can't change these things that are on there. So what you're going to do is you're going to use this next page, and you're going to, here's some ideas for the campaign for attracting voters. You have to use each of these at least once. It gives you some ramifications and some rules. You can create your own as well. Same thing with fundraising. Here's some fundraising events that you can use. It tells you how many you can use, how often you can use them. And then on this, on the 4th page, you can double click this box here like this, and you can add your own, kind of create your own. And I would have to approve those. I would tell you how many voters it gets, if it gets media, etc. Another thing to consider is when you're traveling around the country in your campaign, what states to visit. And we know that swing states are very important to the election. We'll talk about that throughout this unit. But you're going to want to visit all of these purple states, and maybe even these pink ones if you can. The purple ones in 2020 were decided by less than 5%. The pink ones were between 5 and 10%. So you're going to want to visit all those states throughout. And when you're marking campaign events, you're going to mark them in red. And when you're marking fundraising events, you're going to mark them in green text. And you're going to kind of add these up as you go. You're going to spend a few days on this. It's going to take you a while, all right? Okay, so that's going to be the first part. You can see the directions are pretty clear on here. The second part that you'll do once you finish your calendar, maybe at this point you'll work on the calendar together. And maybe at this part, when we get to steps 2, 3, and 4, if you have a group of 3, you can divide and conquer. So maybe one person does part 2, the press release. One person does part 3. One person does part 4. Okay. So you can use these links here that I created. What you're going to do is kind of come up with your candidate's 3 most important issues. So looking at these as websites and kind of thinking about how the current climate is in the world. Is it the economy? Is it healthcare? Is it gun rights? Is it social issues? Is it foreign policy? What are your candidate's most important planks? All right. And then you're going to do a press release. You're going to write a short paragraph that identifies your candidate and their party and discusses the 3 planks and kind of summarizes their beliefs on those 3 issues. Okay. Another person might do the media strategy, where if your candidate's a Republican, your opponent will be Joe Biden. If your candidate's a Democrat, your opponent will be Donald Trump. And you'll talk about your candidate's issues from step 2. You'll talk about and then you'll have to do a little research here, your opponent's positions on those same issues. And answer a couple questions. Why is your candidate the correct choice for the next president of the United States? And then this interview prep. There's going to be an interview. You're going to answer these 3 questions. You're going to do a little research based on some of those websites I provided. Another group member might do this section, part 4, the campaign finance. Find a political action committee that aligns with your party's views on the topic, and explain why you targeted them, and then write a nice, concise 1 to 2 paragraph thank you note for their $5,000 donation, and what they're going to use that money towards, how it's going to help their campaign, right? And then the 5th section is the campaign reflection, and these are just questions that kind of come from your campaign. We'll kind of divide and conquer this part. Maybe one person will do numbers 1 and 2, one person will do maybe 3 and 4, one person will do like 5, 6, and 7, something like that. But maybe you can align it based on the questions that you did. If you did, the political action committee section, you're going to want to answer number 5. If you did the debate and interview section, you're going to want to do 4, and so on. Okay? So if any questions, let me know, and I'll go over the rubric during class as well. But I hope that going over this is helpful. Remember, most of your time will be taken on this calendar. You'll have class time every day to work on this. Okay? Thank you.